Friends, I have a question for you. Among the 10 commandments God gave to His people, what is the most ignored and forgotten commandment of all? Everybody agrees to keep all the items enumerated in 10 commandments except for one. People would say that the 10 commandments are already obsolete, yet they would readily follow the 9 commandments except for this one thing that I would like to tell you. I'm talking about the 4th commandment, which says, "Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy." What is behind this seemingly hostile attitude of Christians against the Sabbath? Why do Christians today insist on keeping the first day of the week as their day of worship instead of the 7th day of the week as God commanded? Finally, who is our ultimate authority when it comes to choosing which day we keep as the Sabbath? We are going to answer all of these questions in this presentation. So, if you're ready, let's dive in. Hello everyone! Welcome back to another exciting episode. I'm Joshua Infantado, the founder of Becoming Christians Academy, the best online course for you if you want to become a zealous and faithful child of God. Today, I want to talk about the most forgotten and ignored commandment of all, the Sabbath day. The 10 commandments sum up the law of God and reflects His good character. The majority of Christians would readily accept all the commandments given by God except for one. There's not much contention and argument when it comes to the 9 commandments. However, there's one particular commandment that has stirred a lot of controversies. In fact, most people don't even bother to look into this commandment. Which commandment? I'm referring to the 4th commandment, which says, "Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy," as we read in Exodus 20 verse 8. When you look at the world of Christianity today, you would soon see that the 4th commandment is the most ignored commandment among the 10 commandments. To make things worse, the 4th commandment is the most forgotten too. It's quite ironic because the 4th commandment starts with the word remember. Yet it's forgotten by most Christians today. This should not come as a surprise because for one, our carnal mind, which is something we all possess, is naturally an enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God, nor indeed can be. That's Romans 8 verse 7. So whenever Yahweh says remember, we forget. And when Yahweh says forget, we remember. When He says do this, we don't do it. When He says we shouldn't do something, we do it. That's just how human nature works. Sad but true. However, we must remember that it is not entirely just because of human nature that's causing us to refuse to follow God's commandments. Another reason is that this world is under the great influence of Satan. We read in Revelation 12 verse 9 how Satan got hold of the whole world. So the great dragon was cast out, that serpent of old called the devil and Satan, who deceives the whole world. He was cast to the earth and his angels were cast out with him. Did you catch that? It says the whole world, not just some, not just a portion or a few, but the whole world. And that includes the majority of Christians today. That's why in most cases, if you see anything that's popular, you can almost be certain that it is not according to God's word. The saddest part of it all is that there are just so many misconceptions and misunderstandings when it comes to the Sabbath command. That's why I want to invite you in requesting our free Bible study guide entitled "The Shocking Truth About the Sabbath Day." In this study guide, you will learn the answers to the following questions. What is the Sabbath day? Which day is the Sabbath day? How did the Sabbath day become Sunday? Why should you keep the Sabbath? And so much more. If you're interested, please check out the description box to find the download link. As you may already know, generally speaking, in this world, people don't know about the Sabbath, much less care about it. Those people who know about the Sabbath see it as an impractical command in a world of materialism and commercialism. After all, who has the time to take off 1/7 of the week purely for rest, Bible study, worship, and fellowship, right? So they don't really care about the Sabbath command anymore. All they would care about would be the cares of this life. Some who try to keep the Sabbath would simply attend church services for just 1 or 2 hours. After that, they go back to their own work, their concerns and activities. There are also those who think of the Sabbath as an ancient relic of history that isn't applicable to us in our modern times. It is nothing but merely a reminder of how God interacted with the ancient Israelites. Others believe that the Sabbath day has been transferred to Sunday, and attending church services for a few hours already fulfilled the intent of the law. Finally, there are also people who believe that any day would do. As long as you worship God and you have a relationship with Him, it doesn't matter whether you keep the Sabbath day or not. After all, God will understand. Whenever you have free time, you can always come to God, and that's all okay, that's all fine. It seems everyone has their own belief and opinion and stand when it comes to the Sabbath. However, in the final analysis, it is not my or your opinion that really matters. What matters is that what Yahweh, the Most High God, thinks of the Sabbath. And just to give you an idea, what the Christian world thinks about the Sabbath is diametrically opposite to what God thinks. That's why I would like to invite you to discover the shocking truth of the Sabbath day. In this book, you will learn what is the Sabbath, why Christians should observe the Sabbath, how to keep the Sabbath holy, what are the arguments people use against the Sabbath, and a lot more. I can assure you that after reading this book, you will learn how the Sabbath teaches us more about the character of God and how it can dramatically improve our relationship with Him. I can't stress enough how important this topic is, so don't commit the mistake of ignoring this free offer. I'm excited to see how the Sabbath can turn your life into a more zealous, committed servant of God. I remember a quote that says, "When people start keeping the Sabbath, they start reading the Bible. When people start reading the Bible, they start keeping the Sabbath." Friends, it is my sincerest hope that you will discover the wonderful blessing that the Sabbath gives us. Contrary to what most Christians believe, the Sabbath is not a burden. It's a gift from our Maker, who knows that our mortal bodies need both physical and spiritual rest. With that said, please download the free ebook, and I hope it will help you draw closer to God. That's it for me. I'm Joshua Infantado, Becoming Christians, praying that God will bless us with His love, truth, and grace. See you next time.